Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about the digestion process in humans. As in earlier video we have seen the diagram of human digestive system, and today I am going to tell you about the how the food get digested by the body. As we eat different kinds of food, like we eat carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins and minerals, etc. So during digestion process, these carbohydrate, which is a bigger molecule, it should be broken down into a simpler one, that is glucose or simple sugars. Fat, it should be broken down into glycerol and fatty acid. And protein, it should be broken down into simplest form, that is amino acid, and these all get assimilated in the blood and provides us nutrition. So we will start from here. First point, that our alimentary canal, this alimentary canal from its from mouth to this anus point, this is also called as gut, and once it is stretched, it can be 6 to 9 meter long. So food enters the digestive system through the mouth and passes through the esophagus, this region, which is also known as um, food pipe, then stomach, small intestine from here, and then large intestine, this part, and then rectum and anus. So this is the pathway by which the food is passes. So first thing, we should talk about the mouth. What will happen in the mouth? So in human digestion begins in the mouth, where the both mechanical and chemical digestion occur. Chemical and mechanical. Mechanical means we masticate the food, we chew the food with the help of teeth, different type of teeth we are having, and also food becomes soft and moist due to secretion of some chemicals. So, and muscular tongue also pushes the food against the teeth. And what is the function of teeth? It cut, chop and grind the food. So cutting, chopping and grinding the food. There are in cheeks there are salivary glands present. Salivary glands are present. As I told you, there are three pairs of salivary glands present. And what is the function of these? It secretes uh, enzyme, which is known as, it secretes saliva which contain an enzyme that is known as salivary amylase. Earlier it was known as ptyalin. And what is the function? Salivary amylase, it hydrolyzes starch into sugar, or you can say that it hydrolyzes polysaccharides. Starch is also known as polysaccharides in presence of salivary amylase, which converts polysaccharide into disaccharides, or also known as maltose. pH of salivary amylase working is 6.8, slightly acidic, you can say. So, and the cheek lining also secrete mucus. Cheek lining secretes what? Mucus, which keep the food moist, and also help in passing the food, swallowing the food, etc. So once food has been reduced to a soft mass, it is ready to be swallowed, and the tongue pushes the mass called bolus. Now the food, it is in the form of bolus. Uh, it passes down in the alimentary canal into the pharynx, then from the pharynx it swallowed into the esophagus, and then it passes forward. So after esophagus, food, where it will pass, can you tell me? Yes, there is stomach. So see here, esophagus, then there is sphincter known as esophageal sphincter, then it forwarded here into the stomach. So the presence of food in the pharynx stimulates swelling, which squeezes into the esophagus, and the esophagus, a muscular tube, uh, it passes behind the trachea, you can see here, and also it penetrates the diaphragm, you are able to see here. So there occur one movement known as peristalsis. So point to be remember that food convert in the form of bolus, and then there start of a movement known as peristalsis movement. It is a type of rhythmic muscle contraction. Rhythmic muscle contraction. The process begins when circular muscles in the esophageal wall contract and relax one after the other, and squeezing the food downwards towards the stomach. So a circular muscle, as I told you in earlier video, that there is a presence of sphincter, which is a type of circular muscle, and it separates the esophagus and the stomach, you can see here. As food is swallowed, this muscles relaxes, forming an opening through which the food can pass into the stomach. So next thing is stomach. So the stomach located in the upper abdomen and just below the diaphragm. See here, just below the diaphragm. It is a sac-like structure, and the stomach can expand significantly. So what is the function of this? The stomach contract about 3 times per minute, and it churning the food. There is another term that is known as churning. Churning is just like something which we can जिसको हम कहते हैं मथना, किसी चीज को मथ देना, जैसे दूध से मक्खन निकालना, like this churning. So churning the food and mixing it with gastric juice. churning and mixing the food with gastric juice. So it thousands of gastric glands in the lining of stomach is present, which consist of water, hydrochloric acid, and an enzyme known as pepsin. And there is another enzyme, mucin, is present. Mucin is a component of mucus. Uh, it is a component of mucus. So, what is the function of first thing? HCl. HCl creates the acidic environment. What is its function? It creates acidic environment that pepsin can act on and start breaking down the protein, and it also kill the microorganism which may have been ingested in the food. And what is the function of mucin? uh, it coats the stomach it coats the stomach and protecting it from the effect of the acid and pepsin. So about 4 hours or less after a meal, food processed by the stomach, and now it is called as chyme. So there is another term. Now the food when processed in stomach, now it is called as chyme. And chyme begins passing a little time through the sphincter, see here, which is also called as pyloric sphincter, into the duodenum, this part, which is the first portion of the small intestine. So let us see how the pepsin does the work. So pepsin, you can see here, in it is released in inactive form in the stomach in the form of pepsinogen. HCl activate pepsin, then protein in presence of pepsin is broken down into proteoses and peptones. Then this case this is only released in case of infants or just born babies, who are only depends on the milk. So this is also known as milk coagulating enzyme. uh, it also releases prorenin in case of infants. In presence of HCl, it converted into active renin. What active renin does, it convert milk protein, that is casein, into paracasein, and then paracasein in the presence of calcium ion of milk, it converted into calcium paracaseinate, which is also known as curd, and this calcium paracaseinate in presence of pepsin converted into peptones. So this enzymatic reaction occurs in stomach. So now the food forwarded where? It forwarded at the duodenum part, or you can say the small intestine. So complete digestion of carbohydrate, protein and fat, as well as absorption of the digested food, occur in the small intestine. It also receives the secretion of liver and pancreas. You can see here it is pancreas and liver, gallbladder. So and this is the longest part of the alimentary canal. Although the name is small intestine, but it is longest part of the alimentary canal, and which is fitted by uh, so many extensive coiling. You can see here large intestine name is because it is wider than small intestine, that's why the name is large intestine. But the small intestine in length, it is larger than the uh, large intestine. It is narrower than the large intestine, hence the name is small intestine. So over a period of 3 to 6 hours, peristalsis move chyme through the duodenum. Then next portion of the small intestine, duodenum, then jejunum, and finally into the ileum, the last section of small intestine. And here you can see the function of liver occur, what it does. During this time, the liver, which is the largest gland in the alimentary canal, secretes bile, very important, bile into the duodenum through the bile duct. Through the bile duct, it secretes bile, where? In duodenum. Liver secretes bile which is stored in gallbladder. Bile, where it is stored? Stored in gallbladder. So don't get confused. It is stored in gallbladder. And bile salts has no digestive enzyme. And what is the function of then bile? So bile breaks large fat globules into small droplets. As we know that fat is not soluble in water, that's why it should be broken down into small droplets that could be miscible or that could be absorbed. So a small intestine can act upon efficiently, and this is also called as emulsification reaction. Emulsification of fat. So bile juice makes the acidic food coming from the stomach alkaline so that pancreatic enzyme can act. You can see here there is another gland that is known as pancreas. It secretes pancreatic juices. So uh, for pancreatic juices to work, there must be alkaline medium. So bile juice convert acidic medium into alkaline medium. So pancreatic juice secreted by the pancreas and enters the duodenum through the pancreatic duct. How it enters? Through pancreatic duct. So what is the function? There is a enzyme known as trypsinogen in presence of another enzyme enterokinase convert into active trypsin, which is also a protein digesting enzyme, and it convert proteoses and peptones in presence of trypsin in dipeptides. In your NCERT book there is written like amino acid. So but dipeptides in presence of another enzyme dipeptidases convert into amino acids. So here in pancreatic juices, sugar and starches convert into simple sugar and starch by the enzyme amylases. Then fats into fatty acid and glycerol with the help of lipases. And then proteins into amino acids with the help of trypsin, as I told you. So there are three main enzyme: amylases, lipases, and trypsin. Now, glands present in the intestinal wall secrete additional enzyme that finally break down the starch complex sugar into simple sugar, and then protein into amino acid, and fat into fatty acid and glycerol. So there is another thing also, like villi. The small intestine's capacity for absorption is increased by millions of finger-like projections. It is like this, which is called villi. It is used for the increase of surface area, and it lines the inner wall of intestine. Then there is also presence of capillaries. Beneath the villi, single layered cells are capillaries. These are the tiny blood vessels of the bloodstream and the lymphatic vessels, lymphatic system. There is another system known as lymphatic system. These capillaries allow nutrients produced by digestion to travel to the cells of the whole body. Simple sugar, amino acid pass through the capillaries to enter the bloodstream. Simple sugar and amino acid. But fatty acid and glycerol pass through the lymphatic acid. Fatty acid and glycerol pass through the lymphatic acid. And the last your topic is assimilation. The body cells make use of the absorbed food nutrients according to their need, and for obtaining energy, building up new tissues, and the repair of the old one. The process of assimilation occur. So finally, whatever we eat, it should get utilized by the body, and this is the utilization, that we obtain energy, and building up new tissues, and the repairing of the old ones occur in the process of assimilation. And the last one is the large intestine. So a watery residue of indigestible food and digestive juices which is remain unabsorbed, and this residue you can say rubbish part which is not digested yet, it leaves the ileum of the small intestine and moves by the peristalsis into the large intestine, where it remains for uh, 12 to 24 hours. See here in the large intestine. And what is the function? It absorbs water about 6 liters daily, as well as dissolved salts from the residue passed on by the small intestine. So the main function is it absorbs water, and in addition bacteria are present in here in the cecum region. It is resident of bacteria. Bacteria in the large intestine promote the breakdown of undigested material. So here bacteria is present, and which promote the breakdown of undigested material, and makes several vitamins like vitamin K, which the body needs for blood clotting. So here it also form vitamin K, which is also needed by the body during blood clotting. And the last one is the rectum. The large intestine moves its remaining content towards the rectum, which makes up the final 15 to 20 centimeter of the uh, alimentary canal. And what it does, it stores feces. Feces means the waste material that consists largely of undigested food, digestive juices, bacteria, mucus, until elimination. So then muscle contraction in the walls of the rectum pushes the feces towards the anus. And when anal sphincter, there is another sphincter present which is known as anal sphincter, which is present between the rectum and the anus. It relaxes and the feces pass out of the body through defecation. So finally, it is all about the digestive process in humans.